always been one that a lot of Africans look out for. Over the weekend, I had a conversation with somebody. Somebody was shooting a podcast, and I had the privilege to be on. And one of the people on there said Ghanaian musicians were lazy, and I fought him because it would be very unfair to say Ghanaian musicians are lazy simply because you think our music is not out there as much as the Nigerians do have their music. Ghanaian music has always been there. I mean, we had Osibisa and all those people playing in the UK and playing for the Queen and doing all those things out there since.
Yeah, sure.
Ghana music has been there. Today, if you talk about a lot of Ghanaian artists who are touring all over the world, you can talk about Banfra, you can talk about Uncle Ebo Taylor, who at his age is still touring. You can talk about Jedible Ambule.
Yes.
You can talk about exactly all these. You see, the unfortunate thing is that these are people who are not getting the media hype. They are not in the internet age, and so you hardly hear about them. Or they are in the minority. They are not the ones who get the most airplays on radio, so you hardly hear about them, and that's where there's a problem. Now, if we talk about how we can get Ghana's music out there, like I said, it's always been there. Maybe now we are hearing more of Nigerian things. We are seeing so much online, and so we feel Ghanaian music is not doing well. Let's not forget at some point in time, Ghana music was all over in Nigeria. What happened? There's been a change, yes. It happens is with growth of music and all that. Let's look at music even in Ghana, for instance. If we talk about Kumasi, at some point in time when you're talking high life, you're talking hip life music, it had to be in Kumasi. If you talk hip life music, you were talking about the Lord Kenyas, the Achiami and all that, the Yogi Doggy, I say Yogi Doggy, what's his name? He's now a pastor.
Lord Kenya.
Lazy Dog and all those people. They were all right here in Kumasi, or Comfort Quad there, everything. Hip life was here in Kumasi. If you talked about producers who could actually give you the hip life feel, you're talking about Morris Babyface and all that, right here in Kumasi. Roro, yes, the brother. I remember listening to Marco Kumante, who once said that at some point he wanted a particular sound and he had to come all the way to Kumasi. And our very own Morris was so busy that he had to sleep in a hotel for days before he was able to get to Morris to record. That tells you how powerful hip life was and who could produce that sound. And so for somebody to travel all the way from Accra to Kumasi to get it done, it tells you something. Now, it moved from the hip life era. Things changed somewhere in the 2006, 2007, 2008 when we heard about crank music. And it moved into Accra. Richie was doing everything in his Tema Bay studio. I said Tema, Achimota Bay studio. Crank music became the order of the day. Ochiami Kwame had recorded Woso with Ochiami Kofi. That was a hip life feel. Unfortunately, that song did not blow. When he went to Richie to record the crank version, that song I think became the popular song of the year or something. It won him the artist of the year.
Yes, the original song was actually recorded with GQ.
Yes, but Ochiami Kofi was also on that one as well. Now it moved, so there was that switch from Kumasi to Accra, and for whatever reason, there sprung this beef between Accra and Tema. That's when they decided to tear apart Asem. You know, all the Tema boys came together, and there was that beef. And then, for whatever reason, the thing switched from Accra to Tema. So there's been that transition. You remember when Asaka became a big thing, I told our people that, listen, it's taking years for this thing to swift back to Kumasi, for all the attention to be here. And if we don't put in all the elements, all the things to sustain this, and it moves back again, it's going to take years.